This is a special edition of the Voice of Solutioners. This week, we take a look back. This is the Voice of Solutioners. I'm Remington Hernandez, and this is where it all began. Just a few months ago, the Voice of Solutioners set out to show you the great people who walk through this house every day. And now, as 2016 comes to a close, we thought it'd be a good idea to reflect on the amazing interviews we've shown you. Now, without further ado, the best of 2016. Episode 1.
Lou and I started Serendipia Nest back in the 1st of May. We opened, found the house in April in the middle of Little Italy, in North Beach here in San Francisco. And our vision for this was really that we wanted to gather all those people together with the same kind of mindset, in a way that they want to make a positive change in this world, right? But they are all like isolated in different parts of the world. They feel very lonely, and people often don't really understand them because those kind of people are usually a little weird, maybe autistic, or just like or just they're weird in their own manner.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
That's what makes our community the best. People, diverse people, and in very different parts of walks of life.
Sharp Societies is a think tank that studies experimental societies. We provide, so right now people are trying to change things within currently existing structures. And there's a lot of incentives within changing a political system that makes it really hard to change things from within. So we sort of came about the strategy that perhaps we should create examples of different methods out in the world on a small scale and see if they work, and then scale them if they succeed, and that will sort of force or compel governments to adopt these programs. It could be anything. I mean, Startup Society can include communes or private cities or seasteads or areas that are governed by blockchain and digital interfaces.
Absolutely. And I would say that a lot of people, you can even notice that transformation that they experience here when they come first and they're used to having their own homes or apartments, and they come and start share the place. They, for maybe a few hours or one day, they seem to be more constrained, but then they adapt and start sharing the energy and like start belonging to the community and start sharing. So that's actually a very beautiful transition that you can sometimes see.
Episode 2.
Okay, so I left Belgium 3 weeks ago. I was working as a psychologist in a drug addicts, and no, I was actually working as a social assistant in that drug addict center. I wasn't even working as a psychologist. I was helping people with the drug abuse, and yeah, that was tough because it's a tough subject, tough area, and I feel like the environment, it's so not taken seriously. Like, people just keep living their life, but we know that we need to do something about the environment. So that's why I started focusing on that, and why I want to do a PhD on that. So nudging is basically the action of behavioral economics. So what is behavioral economics and nudging? Is basically focusing on the automatic behavior of people.
Automatic behavior.
So basically, people think that they take like rational decision, but mostly it's made of habits that they have had in the past. So most of people's decisions come from what they already have done before. And so when we say green nudge, it's basically trying to influence those automatic behavior towards the environment.
Episode 3.
Part of the reason I really loved working with Horseshoe Crabs was because there's a lot of biomedical potential there. And I think a common theme with my love of marine biology is that I love finding ways for marine biology to help people, where, you know, we can sustainably work with marine animals and marine life, but also use those advancements to help, you know, larger societies. And the reason I was so fascinated with horseshoe crabs is that there are a lot of biomedical applications that involve horseshoe crabs. Their blood sells for about $15,000 per liter on the biomedical market, largely because it's great at testing for certain bacteria. And there's all sorts of research going on with horseshoe crab blood and eggs about many other applications, from, you know, possible cancer treatments to regrowing cells that have died to much faster healing times with human cells. And so there's a lot of interesting research, but the problem is that A, horseshoe crab populations are greatly declining because of our medical dependence on them, and B, there aren't enough people actually working with horseshoe crabs to produce these proteins. So these proteins aren't actually accessible for, research. And so we're losing out because nobody's interested in horseshoe crabs, because not a lot of people know about horseshoe crabs. So part of the reason I became so passionate was, to be an advocate for horseshoe crabs, to be an advocate and say, look, our populations are declining way too quickly and we're going to lose the horseshoe crab, which has been around for almost 500 million years. So that's a big problem. And B, if we actually put a little bit of time into helping save them and helping revive them and their populations, we can gain so much from that as well. And they can help us as we help them. And it can be, like a relationship between us where we're going back and forth. And so I think that there's just a lot of potential there. If someone like me, who's weird and has like a weird love for, some crazy animal, really comes in and does something about it. And I think that's one of the things I really love about this house, is that everybody's doing something, a little bit weird, a little bit crazy, but so unique and so impactful for the world.
Episode 4.
I know, Forbes was just a recognition. It doesn't. I like this kind of stuff. It's important because it gives more passion to the others. Because it's not the point to be in the magazine. The point is that someone else who is struggling can see your story and get inspired. That's the whole point, I think. And
yeah, for sure, it's like to inspire like other young people to.
Yeah, so it's not only.
But then what was really the project and the company that you were recognized for?
It was for overall performance, and not performance, but overall investment in the entrepreneurship, and it was for Digimark. It's my last company, which actually we started it like a year before the Forbes thing, but it got very, very quickly growing, and it's one of the most successful IT companies now in the country. I mean,
nice.
with the highest growth. It's all about that, how you think. It's all about the law of attraction. It doesn't matter what kind of technique you're gonna use. If you're using yoga or some Asian techniques or some science like from the West or meditation, everything is about how you think. And this is like at the end, it becomes you, and it becomes your achievement in your life. So this is the outcome. It doesn't matter if you're gonna use psychology or NLP or yoga or whatever. I mean, everyone is free to choose his technique and his personal development program, but at the end, everyone is trying to have better life, to be happy, and to achieve something that matters.
Episode 5.
Well, at some point I was trying to decide what to do with my life, and I was stuck in engineering jobs, a software engineer. It was nothing too interesting, so I decided, okay, I need to change this. So I enrolled in a program called Space Challenges and started learning about space and new technologies, innovation, and how my efforts can actually contribute for the greater good. And my grandfather was a beekeeper, so I started reading some alarming news about the bees. This was like 6 years ago. And it turns out that the bees are dying. Like, I knew that the bees are not really okay, but the trend was so alarming that I was frightened. And then I started searching for available solutions. Maybe I can get the solutions to Bulgaria to help the Bulgarian people and the Bulgarian beekeepers. Turns out there's none. And at least non-effective ones. And I was learning about all those innovative technologies and the sensors and the mesh networks and everything that's surrounding us today. Being in San Francisco right now is like being in a very, very innovative space, right? And we have the technology to solve those problems, but yet we're not using it. So I decided, okay, I will be the one to use it. And I started working on a concept of creating a smart beehive that allows the bees to live in a better house. Yeah. I actually have this idea in mind. We sat down with my co-founder, and we created the mission of the company, the vision of the company, like in the first month that we got together. And the vision is to really create a mesh network, an intelligent, smart grid of nature, using the bees as sensors. So we don't really want to just save the bees. We want to show the world how bees are important to every process around in every aspect of nature. And we also want to use the bees to collect data from them.
Episode 6.
So the idea was for me to understand, when I met all these people around the world, what were the environments, the best environment within a big company for entrepreneurs to thrive. So what can we create? What can we create so that to facilitate the journey of entrepreneurs within a big company? And so I studied that, like meeting all these people, and now the idea is to take all my knowledge and to use to create digital tools in order to allow entrepreneurs to thrive within big companies. And also I have a website where I write about the topic, which it's called entrepreneurshiptour.com. I write about it. You can see watch videos about of entrepreneurs talking. But yeah, the idea for me now is really to go and create these tools and yeah. Well, the people were always within big companies questioning things. They're like, oh yeah, we should do that, but what if? What if we could do better? We could do like bigger. We could have a better impact. These people have a mindset of entrepreneurs. They are the people who want to make things better for the world, for their company, for themselves. These people, they have the mindset.
Episode 7.
Being young is about building enough experiences that your stakeholders can actually trust. And being a woman is also trying to enhance the feminine power that you do have in a world where young males are usually the most common picture. Now, I think as a woman, I might have had the same challenges as young male entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's about being young, and it's about the way the whole ecosystem works. In that sense, probably the very first challenge is getting trust from potential stakeholders. I think that's the very first factor where you have challenges. I think number one, as an individual woman, is being conscious of your powers and your superpowers, your competencies, what you have done, what you have achieved so far. Sometimes looking back and resuming a little bit what you have done and knowing how to communicate on that is probably the best way to attract people and to attract trust. It's also about serving others. If you can serve your stakeholders the best you can, you'll probably have more return on offer on proposals that you actually do offer.
Episode 8.
But it was a very interesting experience. I moved there. I wasn't completely, I was conversational, but I didn't know the language too well. And as soon as I moved there, I went straight into going to school to learn a new language. I went for 5 hours a day and I studied 3 hours a day. And, I was pumping a new language into my system. And it was hard. It was very difficult to try to integrate into a new society. And that's how I had started my organization and restaurant and event company, was through wanting to build a community for internationals that were new, that maybe they felt alone or disconnected and were trying to integrate into society. So I built Expats in Gothenburg, and we have, I think, 6,000 members and growing. Wow. It's been a pleasure to run that and build something to help other people, really. One of the big things is confidence, putting yourself out there. Learning and allowing yourself to make mistakes. It's really progress, not perfection, and some of us really want to not make those mistakes. But in order to be, an entrepreneur and build your own business, you're going to make those mistakes in life. Also, I would say having a mentor, having someone that has your best interests at heart, that can give you advice, that has gone through, similar experiences and has gone through the ups and downs of running a business, that can give you valid advice. I think that's a tremendous thing to have.
Episode 9.
Seniors, kids, I think everyone can do yoga. Don't look at yogis' social media, so they're doing headstands and crazy poses. Yoga is not all about that. Like you're not going to start there, and you might never even get there, but the benefits are still there. I used to party a lot, drink, drugs, whatever, and yoga actually helps balance the part of the brain that makes you want to crave those things.
That was the best of 2016 from the Voice of Solutioners. I'm Remington Hernandez, and from all of us here at Serendipia, we wish you a Happy New Year. See you in 2017. Thanks for watching.
This has been the Voice of Solutioners, presented by Serendipia. To stay up to date, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/serendipialife. Thanks for watching.